Love potion. Disaster. Best friend drinks it and confesses his secret. The morning started like any other Tuesday, except for the small glass vial hidden in Jasmine Rivera's purse. Her hands trembled as she rode the elevator to the 15th floor of Cross Industries, mentally rehearsing her plan for the 100th time. 6 months of unrequited love had driven her to this desperate measure. She had bought the love potion from a mysterious shop in Chinatown 3 days ago. The old woman behind the counter promised it would make anyone fall deeply in love with the first person they saw after drinking it. Jasmine knew it sounded ridiculous, but desperation makes people believe in magic. Victor Cross was everything Jasmine thought she wanted. Tall, handsome, successful, with sharp blue eyes that seemed to look right through people. He was the youngest CEO in the company's history, brilliant and intimidating in equal measure. Every woman in the office swooned over him, but he never seemed to notice anyone. Jasmine had convinced herself that if only he would really see her, everything would be different. The office buzzed with its usual morning energy. Jasmine clutched her purse tighter as she walked past rows of cubicles toward the break room. Her heart pounded so hard she thought everyone must hear it. This was it. Today, Victor would finally notice her. She prepared 2 cups of coffee, one for herself and one for Victor, exactly how he liked it, with 1 sugar and a splash of cream. Her fingers fumbled with the vial as she pulled it from her purse. The liquid inside shimmered like liquid moonlight. Just 3 drops, the old woman had said. 3 drops, and true love would bloom. Jasmine unscrewed the cap and held it over Victor's cup. Her hand shook. Was she really doing this? Before she could overthink it, she tipped the vial. 1 drop. 2 drops. 3 drops disappeared into the coffee. She stirred it quickly and turned around, nearly crashing into someone. Coffee sloshed dangerously close to the rim of both cups. Whoa, careful there, Jazz. Derek Martinez stood before her, his warm brown eyes full of concern. He worked in IT, and they had known each other since elementary school. Derek was the opposite of Victor in every way, easygoing, always smiling, content with his simple life. He wore graphic tees under blazers and made terrible jokes that somehow still made her laugh. "Sorry, I wasn't looking," Jasmine said, trying to step around him. "Let me help you with those," Derek offered, reaching for one of the cups. "No, wait!" Jasmine pulled back, but it was too late. Derek had already grabbed the cup meant for Victor. "Thanks, I needed this," he said, taking a big sip before she could stop him. "I was up late fixing the server issues." Jasmine's stomach dropped. No. No. This couldn't be happening. She watched in horror as Derek drank nearly half the cup, completely unaware of what he had just consumed. "Derek, that wasn't for you," she whispered, her voice strangled. "What?" He looked at the cup, then at her stricken face. "Oh man, was this Victor's? Sorry, I'll make him another one." "No, it's not that." Jasmine felt dizzy. The room seemed to spin around her. "I need to go." She practically ran to her desk, abandoning both cups in the break room. This was a disaster, an absolute catastrophe. What was she going to do now? Derek had the potion meant for Victor. Would it even work? Maybe it was all fake anyway. Maybe nothing would happen. Jasmine tried to focus on her work, but every few minutes she glanced toward the IT department. Derek was at his desk, typing away, seemingly normal. Maybe the potion needed time to work, or maybe it really was just colored water, and she had wasted her money on nothing. An hour passed, then 2. Jasmine started to relax. Nothing was happening. It was all nonsense, just like her rational mind had tried to tell her. Then Derek appeared at her cubicle. "Hey, can we talk?" His voice sounded strange, urgent. "I'm kind of busy," Jasmine said, not looking up from her computer screen. "Jasmine, please, this is important." Something in his tone made her look up. Derek's face was flushed, and his eyes had an intensity she had never seen before. He looked nervous, excited, and terrified all at once. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Can we go somewhere private? The conference room is empty." Jasmine's heart began racing again. No, this couldn't be the potion working. Derek was her friend, her safe, comfortable, predictable friend. He wasn't supposed to look at her like that, like she was the only person in the world. They walked to the small conference room in silence. Derek closed the door behind them and turned to face her. He ran his hand through his dark hair, a nervous habit she had seen 1,000 times. "I don't know how to say this," he began. "Then don't," Jasmine interrupted. "Derek, whatever you're about to say, don't." "I have to. I've been holding this in for too long." He took a step closer. "Jasmine, I'm in love with you. I have been since high school, maybe even longer." The words hung in the air between them. Jasmine felt her world tilting sideways. This was the potion talking. It had to be. Derek didn't really feel this way. He was her best friend, nothing more. "You don't mean that," she said quietly. "I do. God, Jasmine, I've watched you chase after guys who don't deserve you for years. I've listened to you cry over them. I've been there for every heartbreak, hoping that someday you might see me differently." His voice cracked with emotion. "And this morning, drinking that coffee, it was like something clicked. Like I suddenly had the courage to finally tell you the truth." Jasmine backed away until she hit the wall. "Derek, stop, you're confused. That coffee, it wasn't normal." "What are you talking about?" "I put something in it, a potion. It was supposed to be for Victor." The words tumbled out in a rush. "It's supposed to make you fall in love with the first person you see. That's why you feel this way. It's not real." Derek stared at her for a long moment, then laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. "You think I need a magic potion to love you?" "Jasmine, I've loved you since we were kids. Since you let me copy your math homework in 6th grade. Since you stayed up with me all night when my mom was sick. Since 1,000 little moments that had nothing to do with magic." "But the potion," Jasmine insisted weakly. "There is no potion. Or if there is, it didn't do anything except maybe give me the guts to finally say what I should have said years ago." He looked at her with such raw honesty that it hurt. "The question is, what are you going to do about it?" Jasmine couldn't breathe. Everything she thought she knew was crumbling around her. She had spent months pining for Victor, a man who barely knew her name, while Derek had been there all along. The rest of that Tuesday passed in a blur. Jasmine avoided Derek, avoided everyone really. She went through the motions of work mechanically, her mind spinning with Derek's confession. By the time 5 o'clock came, she practically sprinted to the elevator, but Derek was waiting for her in the parking garage. "We need to talk about this," he said gently. "There's nothing to talk about. You drank a potion, said some things, and tomorrow everything will be back to normal." Jasmine fumbled with her car keys. "Will it? Because I don't think I can go back to pretending I don't feel this way." Derek stepped closer, and Jasmine found she couldn't move away. "And I don't think you want things to go back to normal either." "I'm in love with Victor," Jasmine said, but the words sounded hollow even to her own ears. "Are you? Really? Or are you in love with the idea of him?" Derek's voice was soft, not accusatory. "When's the last time Victor asked how your day was? When's the last time he remembered your birthday or noticed when you stayed late to finish a project? When's the last time he made you laugh?" Jasmine opened her mouth to argue, but no words came, because Derek was right. Victor didn't know her at all. He probably couldn't pick her out of a lineup of his employees. "I have an idea," Derek said. "Let me take you on a date, a real date. If you still think you want Victor after that, I'll never bring this up again, I promise." "Derek, I don't think that's a good idea. Think of it as practice. You said you wanted to impress Victor, right? Let me help you practice dating so you don't mess it up with him." Derek smiled, that familiar warm smile that had comforted her through so many rough times. "What do you have to lose?" That was how Jasmine found herself standing in front of her mirror on Saturday evening, wearing a dress she had originally bought for impressing Victor. She had told herself this was just practice, just helping a friend. But her racing heart suggested otherwise. Derek picked her up right on time, and Jasmine's breath caught when she saw him. He was wearing a proper button-down shirt and dark jeans, his hair styled neatly. He looked different. Or maybe she was just seeing him differently. "You look beautiful," Derek said, and the sincerity in his voice made her blush. He took her to a small Italian restaurant she had mentioned wanting to try months ago. Jasmine was surprised he remembered. They were barely seated when she realized this didn't feel like practice at all. It felt real. Derek told her stories that made her laugh until her sides hurt. He asked about her dreams, really listened to her answers. He remembered tiny details she had forgotten she'd told him. The waiter probably thought they were already a couple from the way they leaned across the table toward each other. How easily the conversation flowed. After dinner, they walked through the park. The evening was warm and fairy lights hung in the trees like captured stars. "I got you something," Derek said suddenly, pulling a small wrapped box from his jacket pocket. "Derek, you didn't have to do that." "I wanted to." He handed it to her, looking nervous again. Inside was a vintage compass necklace, the exact one she had been searching for online for months. Jasmine looked up at him in shock. "How did you know?" "You showed me the listing when you couldn't afford it last month. I went back and got it before someone else could." Derek helped her put it on. "You always said you wanted something to help you find your way." Jasmine touched the compass at her throat, feeling tears prick her eyes. No one had ever paid such close attention to her before. Victor would never have remembered something like this. They sat on a bench overlooking the lake, the city lights reflecting on the dark water. The moment felt perfect, almost too perfect. Then Derek turned to her, his hand cupping her cheek. "Can I kiss you?" he asked softly. Jasmine's heart hammered in her chest. She should say no. She should remember this was just practice, that she was supposed to want Victor. But looking into Derek's eyes, she couldn't remember why Victor had ever mattered. "Yes," she whispered. The kiss was gentle at first, then deeper, full of years of unspoken feelings. When they pulled apart, Jasmine felt tears on her cheeks. "Why are you crying?" Derek asked, concerned. "Because I've been so stupid." Jasmine laughed through her tears. "I've been chasing someone who doesn't see me while ignoring the person who's been right in front of me this whole time." "The potion," Derek began, but Jasmine cut him off. "There was no potion. I called that shop. It closed down 5 years ago. The woman I bought it from was just an actress doing a pop-up experience shop. It was just colored sugar water." She took his hand. "Everything you felt, everything you said, that was real. It was always real." Derek pulled her close, relief and joy mixing on his face. "I love you, Jasmine Rivera. I always have." "I love you too. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it." They stayed in the park until the lights went out, talking and kissing and planning a future that suddenly seemed brighter than Jasmine had ever imagined. She thought about the potion, about her desperate attempt to manufacture love with Victor. How foolish she had been. On Monday morning, Victor stopped by her desk with a request for another report. He didn't notice her new necklace or the glow in her cheeks. He didn't ask about her weekend. He just dropped the file on her desk and walked away. Jasmine watched him go and felt nothing. No longing, no heartache, just relief. She had wasted so much time on a fantasy. Derek appeared a few minutes later with her favorite coffee, made exactly how she liked it. "Morning, beautiful," he said, kissing her cheek. "Morning," Jasmine replied, smiling up at him. "Thank you for the coffee." "Anything for you?" Derek grinned. "Want to grab lunch later? There's this new place I want to try." "I'd love that." As Derek walked away, Jasmine touched the compass necklace at her throat. She had spent so long looking for love in the wrong places, trying to force something that was never meant to be. She had believed she needed magic to find love when the real magic had been there all along, in the form of a patient friend who had been waiting for her to open her eyes. Sometimes the best love stories aren't about potions or grand gestures or trying to make someone notice you. Sometimes they're about finally seeing the person who's been there all along. The one who knows your coffee order by heart, who remembers the small things, who loves you not for who you could be, but for exactly who you are. Jasmine looked at the report Victor had left and smiled. She would finish it because it was her job, but her heart was elsewhere now, with someone who truly deserved it. The potion had failed, but in failing it had given her something far more valuable, the chance to discover